In a quiet forest filled with tall trees and the sound of rustling leaves, there lived a little squirrel named Sparky. Like any other squirrel, Sparky loved to leap from branch to branch, gathering food to stash away for the colder months. He was swift, nimble, and curious, always eager to explore new areas and find hidden treasures. But one day, Sparky faced a challenge like never before. It wasn't just any ordinary day in the forest. It was the day Sparky set his eyes on a special acorn that seemed completely out of reach. This is the story of how a small squirrel overcame a big problem through patience, creativity, and an unwavering determination to never give up. It started like any other morning. Sparky scurried along the forest floor, his tiny nose twitching as he sniffed around for food. The season had been generous, and he had already gathered quite a few nuts. But then, as if by some divine stroke of luck, his eyes landed on it, a golden acorn, shimmering in the sunlight, perched high on a branch of the tallest tree in the forest. This acorn was unlike any other Sparky had seen. It was large, shiny, and looked absolutely delicious. His heart raced at the sight of it. He knew he had to have it. But there was a problem. The branch that held the acorn was thin and way up high, almost out of sight. Sparky had climbed many trees before, but this one was different. The bark was slick, and the branches were sparse and fragile. Reaching the acorn would not be easy. Still, Sparky was determined. He started climbing the tree, hopping from one branch to another, but he soon found himself stuck. Every time he tried to reach the branch where the acorn sat, it seemed to sway just a little further away. The branch was too high to leap to directly, and there were no sturdy branches close enough to use as a launching point. Frustrated but not defeated, Sparky scampered back down the tree, sat on the forest floor, and began to think. As he gazed up at the acorn, Sparky thought about his predicament. He could keep trying to jump and reach it, but that approach clearly wasn't working. What if there was another way? Sparky's mind raced with ideas. He thought about the many skills he had developed over the seasons, his ability to climb, his quick reflexes, and his cleverness when it came to finding hiding spots for his food. If he could just find a way to combine his abilities, maybe, just maybe, he could reach that acorn. Sparky observed the branches, studying their positions. He realized that trying to reach the acorn in a straight line wouldn't work because there were no stable paths. But what if he could change his approach? What if he could create a path himself? Sparky's eyes sparkled with excitement as a new plan began to take shape in his mind. Sparky scurried around the base of the tree, looking for materials that might help him in his quest. He found a long, flexible twig and tried to use it as a lever to lift himself higher. But the twig snapped under his weight. He then attempted to stack small rocks to create a makeshift platform, but it was too unstable, and he stumbled back down. Each failure brought with it a wave of frustration, but Sparky didn't let it discourage him. He took a deep breath and reminded himself that failure is just a part of the process. It's not about how many times you fail, but how you learn and adapt from each experience. So, he kept trying, tweaking his methods, and learning from every setback. After hours of effort, Sparky paused to rest, his eyes fixed on the golden acorn above. He noticed something he hadn't seen before. When the wind blew, the branches of the tree swayed ever so slightly, creating a rhythm. If he could use this natural movement to his advantage, maybe he could get closer to the acorn. A new idea dawned on Sparky. Instead of trying to leap from one branch to another, he could try using the branches as a springboard, timing his jumps to coincide with the natural sway of the tree. He practiced this technique on lower branches, jumping and adjusting his movements to match the rhythm of the swaying branches. It took several attempts, but slowly, Sparky started to get the hang of it. He discovered that by pushing off at just the right moment, he could use the momentum of the swaying branches to propel himself higher. With each successful jump, he grew more confident. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of practice and fine-tuning, Sparky felt ready to make his move. He climbed the tree one last time, positioning himself on the closest stable branch to the acorn. He took a deep breath, feeling the wind rustle through the leaves. Sparky watched the branch with the acorn as it swayed in the breeze. Timing would be crucial. He waited, his tiny heart pounding with anticipation. And then, just as the branch started to sway back, Sparky launched himself into the air. For a split second, everything seemed to move in slow motion. He reached out with his little paws, stretching as far as he could. The acorn was right there, just inches away. With a final burst of energy, Sparky's paws closed around the acorn. He did it. The acorn was his. Sparky landed back on a nearby branch, holding the acorn triumphantly in his paws. He let out a joyful squeak and looked down at the forest floor below. It had taken all day, countless tries, and more creativity than he'd ever used before, but he had succeeded. As Sparky nibbled on the acorn, savoring its sweet, rich taste, he thought about everything he'd been through that day. What started as a seemingly impossible challenge had turned into an opportunity to grow. He had learned to be patient, to think outside the box, and to keep trying even when things seemed hopeless. Most importantly, Sparky realized that the key to success wasn't just about physical strength or speed, it was about using his mind, embracing creativity, and never losing sight of his goal. He knew that this lesson would stay with him forever. The other animals in the forest soon heard about Sparky's incredible feat. Squirrels, birds, and even curious rabbits came to see the squirrel who had managed to retrieve the unreachable acorn. They asked him how he did it, and Sparky happily shared his story. He didn't brag about his accomplishment. Instead, he focused on the lessons he'd learned, the importance of perseverance, the power of creativity, and the value of patience. Sparky's journey inspired others to approach their own challenges with a new mindset. The story of the little squirrel who reached the unreachable acorn spread far and wide, becoming a tale that animals told their young to teach them the value of determination and ingenuity. Sparky's story is more than just a tale of a squirrel and an acorn. It's a reminder to us all that no problem is too big when you believe in yourself, stay patient, and think creatively. When faced with challenges that seem impossible, remember that there's always a way forward. Sometimes you just have to look at the problem from a different angle. So, the next time you find yourself struggling to achieve something that seems out of reach, think of Sparky and his adventure. Let his story inspire you to keep pushing, keep experimenting, and keep believing that you can reach your own golden acorn, no matter how high it may seem. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed Sparky's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more motivational tales like this one. Share this video with someone who could use a little extra encouragement today, and as always, keep striving for the impossible.